Hey, Truth Seekers, welcome back. Zach here. In tonight's National League wildcard game, something dawned on me when the Cubs defeated the Pittsburgh Pirates. Please listen carefully. This is a very important post. I think I have solved a riddle for the World Series. And not only that, I think I have figured out what all the September 23rd and October 6th coding has been about all year. The clues have been with the Cubs, which I have been documenting on my blog throughout the season. Notice tonight that the Cubs won in Pittsburgh, and the Pittsburgh fans were doing what they call a blackout, which is where the fans wear all black. This is something that has become popular in the last half decade or so for football, basketball, and college. This article is from mid-season, May 5th, 2015. The article is, "Are the Cubs in the midst of a power outage?" This doesn't have to do with electricity. This is an analogy for not hitting the ball very well. Check out what's in this article, Truth Seeker. Let's just read what's here from this little excerpt from May 5th. The real question is, are the Cubs suffering from a total power outage, or is this simply how they were destined to perform? Let's look at the raw data. As far as production goes, none of the peripheral stats seem to indicate any red flags. The Cubs are 16th overall in total runs scored, 106. Boom, right away, there's the number 106, the number of prophecy. It has been 106 seasons since the Cubs won the World Series. In Back to the Future Part 2, he sees that the Cubs win in 2015 in USA Today. USA Today has Gematria of 106. For the sake of time, we're going to skip ahead. You can pause and read the rest. What I want to show you is everything I have put together here. If you're not aware, the Cubs played in 2 games this season where power outages happened, and they're both very suspicious. It reminds me of Super Bowl 47 that had the 33-minute blackout at 13:22 in the third quarter. 49ers versus Ravens, the Harbaugh brothers, the first time 2 brothers met as head coaches. So check this out. Tonight was the wild card game, which has Gematria of 55, a very special number to Chicago and the Chicago Cubs. I did a post on the death of Harry Carey today and talked about the significance of this number. The man who wrote this article wrote it on May 5th, 5-5. The author's name is Andrew Denny. The Gematria of Andrew Denny is 55. This is likely a false identity. A lot of these articles have made-up names coded with numbers that are relevant to the article, such as May 5th. Chicago Cubs happen to have Gematria of 55, and right now their president of baseball operations is Theo Epstein, who has Gematria of 55. Remember, this is the curse breaker in Boston. Now he might come to Chicago and be the curse buster here. Again, he is a little Zionist from the club, the Synagogue of Satan, as I revealed earlier today. Synagogue of Satan are the false Jews as referenced in Revelation of the Bible. Theo Epstein, no doubt a Zionist. So here we go. The first power outage was May 27th, 2010. The Nationals were in Chicago. The second one was June 22nd, 2015. This article is from the day after. The power outage was on June 22nd. I want to show you what was so suspicious about both of these games. May 27th has Gematria of 239. This is a number that has been coded all year. The United States is in its 239th year of existence, 1776 to the present. Also, June 22nd, the other day it happened on, is exactly 106 days before the start of the playoffs, which began yesterday, October 6th, 10-6, a lot like 106. Also, notice how this is 3 months and 14 days, a lot like 3.14 for pi. Very special numbers. That first game on May 27th, the Nationals defeated the Cubs. Notice that Scherzer was pitching, who got 2 no-hitters this year. The first one was with 106 pitches. The second was 106 days later with 109 pitches. No-hitter equals 109. The first player to ever do that in history, 2 no-hitters in one season, Johnny Vandermeer, died on October 6th when the playoffs began, a lot like 106. And Roy Halladay did it most recently with a no-hitter in the regular season and one in the postseason, also on October 6th. That was 2010 with the Phillies, who no-hit the Cubs this year 74 days before their playoff game. So here's the joke, Truth Seeker. That first one on May 27th was with 106 pitches. The starting pitcher had 106 pitches, Truth Seeker, if you can believe it, with all this 106 coding. Think about a blackout, which happened in this game with all this coding. It was the Nationals' 47th game, and it was the Cubs' 46th game. The Nationals are in D.C., where the president is. Think about a blackout, as in getting a black president out who's from Chicago. There was a blackout on April 7th at the White House this year, Truth Seeker. Look up the story 47. The word president has Gematria of 47. It was the Nationals' 47th game. Chicago has Gematria of 46. It was Chicago's 46th game, a home game. Again, 106 years since the Cubs won the World Series. The pitcher, John Lester, who had 106 pitches, has a life number of 111. This year is the 111th World Series. He's from Tacoma on the 47th parallel, important numbers. Remember, prophecy has Gematria of 106. And notice how prophecy has Jewish Gematria of 666. What I want to show you here is how this number connects to 144, which is relevant to the Cubs, because they are in their 144th year of existence. They began as the Chicago White Stockings. 144 years later, they're shooting for their first World Series in 106 seasons. So anyway, in the Bible, in Revelation, the 66th book of the Bible, the numbers 144 are used and 666. 144 is used twice, 666 once. If you write out the phrase mark of the beast and sum it in Gematria, it sums to 144. As you see on the screen, if you count the first 144 decimal points of pi, it sums to 666. Earlier I was talking about how that date corresponded with pi, 3 months, 14 days, the same as 106 days. You see how this all comes together, Truth Seeker? This stuff is planned out, plotted out. It is so well controlled it would blow your mind. It's why pictures come out when they come out. This stuff is going on all the time. Also, with regards to Revelation, the Cubs pitcher threw a complete game tonight. Revelation has Gematria of 49. We're talking about Revelation. The pitcher's name, his real name is Jacob Arrieta, having Gematria of 49, plus he wears 49. Number of Revelation, where 666 and 144 come from. Revelation is the 66th book of the Bible. World Series equals 66. Last year, San Francisco won the World Series 66 days after their worst earthquake since the 89 World Series. Think about clues, Truth Seeker. Clues for those with eyes to see. The first blackout game for the Cubs, May 27th, 132 days before October 6th when the playoffs began, or 4 months, 9 days. 132 reminds me of the Philadelphia train wreck that was traveling 106 miles per hour and crashed at 9:23 p.m. That was the 132nd day of the year. And it's also 133 days till their first playoff game, from the blackout to their first playoff game where they defeated the Pittsburgh Pirates in the blackout. Theo Epstein happens to have a life number of 133. Before the season began, they had 33-1 odds to win the World Series. After the game was over, ESPN had this up right away. Look at the runs, hits. Notice the 4-7, 7-4 numbers we talk about a lot. The headline they had, Cubs roll past Pirates behind Arrieta's gem, has Gematria of 404. And in Revelation, there are 404 verses. I show all the time how these headlines are coded with the message they're trying to put out. 404 is a common coding. That is the number of Revelation. Pope Francis equals 404. He got off the plane in America at 4:04 p.m. local time. This number's no joke, Truth Seeker. In Revelation, if you read it right now, if you pick up Revelation and you start reading, you're going to notice the numbers that come up more than any other are 4 and 7, 4 and 7. Think of this nation's birthday. Think all this stuff's scripted. I even think those errors were scripted from watching the game. Looked like they were intentional errors. The game started at 5:08 Pacific, 8:08 Eastern Time. Very creepy, Truth Seeker. And look at this. With regards to 106, I took the time to crunch every single manager's numbers. This took me almost the entire playoff game yesterday, Yankees-Astros. I was working on it the whole game. Only two managers have 106 named Gematria. The manager of the Yankees, who was eliminated yesterday. The name Joseph Elliott Girardi equals 106, eliminated yesterday. The big way 232, which is a number connected to 55 through the word Satan. And the other coach who was eliminated was the Pirates today. Clinton Merrick Hurdle, the only other coach with 106 Gematria. We're talking about this number. And the big way also 232. These are the only two coaches in the entire league with 106 named Gematria. They're both eliminated in the two wild card games. That tells me there's a lot of 106 going on. You know what I'm saying? The Cubs advanced today over the Pirates, which have the most 106 Gematria. They were established on October 15th, 1881, a date with 106 numerology. The Pirates won the World Series 106 years ago, 1909, the year after the Cubs last won it. And again, one of only two teams with a manager with 106 Gematria. Last year I learned in the World Series the manager's name has a lot to do with what happens. This year we know what 106 meant. Signs of what was to come, both in the wild card game. Also, True Seeker, I want to point out Ernie Banks died at the beginning of this year, shortly after meeting Obama. Obama was 53 at the time. The name Ernie Banks equals 53. He joined the Cubs in the year 53. His last game, September 26, 1971, a date with 106 numerology, one more 106. He got a presidential medal around his neck just days before dying, just like the golfer Charlie Sifford. Charlie Sifford got one of these medals from the president and then died shortly after, just days after the death of Ernie Banks. Very suspicious. Obama's currently 54. The word baseball has Gematria 54. This is what it is in the coded MLB. They are predicting possibly some very kind of sick prophecy, Truth Seeker. To close out, I want you to know who is responsible if any funny business happens at the World Series this year. Notice that on April 8th, 2014, there was a drill simulating an act of terrorism at the World Series. It was at PNC Park, where the game was tonight, where the Cubs defeated Pennsylvania with the crowd participating in the Blackout. That date, April 8th, is the 98th day of the year. The word prophet equals 98. The word prophecy equals 106. These numbers are often paired together. The Pirates had 98 wins tonight. Their starting pitcher had a birthday of September 8th, 9-8. The numerology of the date this drill happened on was numerology of 46, just like the word Chicago. And from our research, it's very possible Chicago will end up in the World Series. Remember this story from February 28th of this year? The Pirates were sickened by Jihadi John wearing a Pirates hat. The story came out on February 28th, if you can make that out. Pittsburgh Pirates, Truth Seeker, have a Gematria of 228, a lot like 2/28 for February 28th. United States of America shares this Gematria. They said this guy, Jihadi John, was a member of ISIS, so part of the ISIS propaganda. Notice Jihadi John sums to 88 in Gematria. Tonight's game started at 8:08 Eastern Time. What you should know about ISIS is that it was started by Mossad, which is Israel's CIA essentially. It is the Zionists who do all of this by the numbers. Israel was established on a date in history with 106 numerology, and if you read their history, they say it was a date of prophecy, but they do not teach you numerology or Gematria. Here's a quote from Bobby Valentine yesterday, the former coach of the Mets. He says they will win the World Series, posted October 6th at 1:06 p.m. There is a whole lot of 106, a whole lot of prophecy coding going on. Again, it's the 111th World Series, and New York equals 111. Let us close by remembering that the Cubs are under the suffering of the curse of the Billy Goat, which has Gematria of 223, just like Synagogue of Satan, known as the false Jews from Revelation in the Bible. The man who had the goat that started the curse was named Billy Zionist, which sounds a lot like Zionist. These are the gangsters who are getting us, Truth Seeker. There's a group of gangsters out there, and they're hoaxing us all. All right, until next time. President Obama hails from Chicago, turned 54 this year. Baseball has Gematria 54, and his attorney Loretta Lynch has named Gematria 54, a concerning name. and her hearing started with the kill number 44, like Obama's President 44.